Fun. Okay. All right. All right. So we're live. We're recording. Just so everybody's aware, welcome. It's Wednesday, August 26th. This session is our TEACHnology covering creating online communities. We are excited that you are all here. If you are watching the recording, this one and the one that we recorded at 9 o'clock, the online course organization, are going to be put together for housing in the TLH. So you'll see both of these videos together. And then as always, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to Robin, Trish, myself. Becky gave a great introduction in that first video. So if you have not, or if you weren't able to join us on that one, please make sure you go back and watch that first one. But know they're going to be tucked together in one TLH course. Obviously, if you are here for this one and didn't make the first one, watch the first one. You're always welcome to rewatch either both to your enjoyment. Jessica also gave a great reminder in the first session about how this is like as face-to-face as we're going to get at the moment. So feel free to put this down on your building PD logs if you would like. Jessica is here, so correct me, Jessica, if I'm wrong. But if you need to create a new yearly activity, you can, and then this can go on there. And then I know, like, you reminded some people that if you're starting a new cycle in your licensure, you'll have to create a new plan before you add in your activities, right? And then if you have questions, Jessica, Katie Williams for Morgan, Tracy Wright for the middle school, and then high school, I'm sorry, I don't remember who your person is.
Sharon Burlage and Emily.
Perfect. Ask them if they have, or if you have any questions. So welcome. I'm going to kick it over to Trish then.
All right, thanks, Sarah. All right, so this course is creating an online community. And so we're gonna work on our community in person like we always do and online as well. Every year, I know you guys in your classroom always do a great job of building a community in your classroom of trust, respect, collaboration, kindness, and that is fantastic. This year, we need to build that online as well, and we need to start now. We need to start in the very beginning because, you know I kind of mentioned this in the first session, Becky mentioned it too, but I think it's worth saying again. I know we're scheduled to come back 5 days a week, which we're gonna do. It's gonna be awesome. But even at that, we need to get in that mindset that we are teaching in a blended environment from day one, because it's very possible that very quickly we're gonna have students that are out sick, quarantined, that can't come in. And so you might be there 5 days a week teaching every day, but some of your students may be learning from home while you're in school teaching every day, 5 days a week, face-to-face. And those students are gonna swap. Those kids will come back, other students may be out, you may be out, I may be out. And so we also might have to pivot very quickly and go to a fully remote option or scenario, depending on what this wonderful year throws at us. So we just need to be ready. We've got our experiences from the spring to build our year for this year. And so we know already it is so much easier to teach these kids these skills face-to-face if we have the option. So rather than waiting until we're online or you have kids absent for 2 weeks and they're trying to catch up on this, we can start now and start day one of setting those expectations of our in-person classroom as well as our online classroom, introducing these tools that we have access to, the skills that the students are going to need. I know in the past, a lot of us have done kind of a just-in-time scenario where, you know what, we're not doing that assignment in Schoology yet. We're not doing an online discussion yet. That's not coming up just yet. I'll wait to do that introduction until we get there. But this year, if we want to do it in person, we may not have that time to wait. So anything we can do starting right away is really going to set us up for success later on down the road when we get all of these split scenarios and people kind of going everywhere. Those expectations are going to be set, those skills are going to be there, and it's going to make it easier for you. You're going to get less questions from your kiddos and have to deal with less issues later on if they know those expectations up front. And it's going to be easier for your students too, because you will have introduced it to them as much as you possibly can. So they're not learning a whole new thing from home or from whatever environment that may be. So we definitely want to take a kind of a look at what that means for creating an online community. And we've got some tips today to kind of walk you through and kind of keep in mind as you're working with your students, as you're creating assignments, as you're putting your own timelines together as to when you want to do these different pieces and when you want to introduce these new skills. So I put together a little poster visual. We can kind of walk ourselves through here. I'm going to share my screen. And let's see if I share the right one. I think it's this one. Okay, that is, let's see. Here we go. Need to get mine. All right, oops. Well, that's almost there. Hold on. I'm going to stop my share for again just a minute. I didn't get it quite right. So I'm using Canva, which is a great tool, but I am trying to present in presenter mode so I can see my notes. So this is the presenter window. Okay, sorry about that. Need to drag that out. And now I need to go back. I had this all ready to go and then I didn't share it right. Sorry. Okay, 1 second. Where did it go? Here we go. Let me try this one more time. Too many applications open. All right. Okay, can you guys see my poster now? We're good? All right, thank you. Okay, so some things to keep in mind when we're building an online community. An online community, it refers to anything from the way students access information, the types of information and resources and tools they have access to, communication online, from us to them, from students amongst each other. So it's the whole world of that online piece. Now we have Schoology, we have Google Classroom, we have some great tools to facilitate this. We just need to get our students up and running on what that means to use these tools and how to do it. So this we kind of broke this out into 3 chunks: communication, expectations, and mutual respect. Okay, so for the communication piece, something that we have in Ross that is wonderful is the media center pages for our elementary buildings. They have all of the links that the students need for all of the different programs, and our teaching and learning hub, or a student hub for our students. I know the middle school uses this a lot. I post announcements on the student hub all throughout the year, and I can see the views and how many views they get. And I will tell you, these kids look at these announcements. It's not just us, and it doesn't go into the black hole of no one sees it. We get hundreds of views on the announcements that we push out through here. So teach your kids to go to the teaching and learning hub or the student hub to get to their programs. And high school too. I know high school, you've got your own way of doing things and where you want your kids to go, and that's fantastic. But considering they may not be with you if you show them where to go each day, that student hub is a great place. It has access to all of the student programs and all of the links to log in that they're going to need for your particular building. I know students like to use bookmarks a lot of times in all grade levels. And I love the personalization that bookmarks give. It's just students can, own it and get to where their resources they need on their own. But I will say, as the one that has to fix the bookmarks all the time when they break, bookmarks break. Eventually, sometimes they just for random reasons stop working. And also our links change. We have very specific Ross links to all of these programs. If you just do a Google search to get to Schoology, you're not going to be able to log in. It's not going to take you to the Ross link to log in. They need to be using the links that we provide to them for their programs. And if they're using a bookmark and our links change, which happens from the company, sometimes they say, oh, here's the new link to log in this year. We push it out to the Teaching and Learning Center hub. We push it out to the Student Hub and the Media Center pages. I don't have access to push that out to student bookmarks. So if they're using a bookmark, half the time when the kids come in and they can't log into their math program or they can't log into something else, it's because they're using a personal bookmark and not those Media Center pages or the Student Hub links. So considering they're not going to be able to come to me necessarily if they're at home very easily to just say, hey, I can't log in. If they're using those pages to begin with, they're not going to have those troubles. So definitely show your students what the student hub looks like and the media pages, how to get there, how to log in, how to find those links that they need, how to read those announcements. It's a tool we have. Kids use it, they like it, and it gets them to where they need to be without problems. So the next piece to that, let's see, we've got, make sure you teach students how to log in and access their programs. Okay, I know, especially, you know, some of the students coming into 5th grade, it's a big transition. They haven't used Schoology before, they haven't used Calendar before, and we don't have all year to teach it to them. You know, same with the high school, as at any different grade level, they have different programs that they need to learn to use. And you guys are used to this. We're just used to having a little bit more time to kind of get them through it. You know, this year from the beginning, we are really highly suggesting that you get these students comfortable with these programs right off the bat. So we're not waiting until 2nd semester or, you know, October or whenever it is to teach them how to use these. It will save you a lot of headache in the long run when they're, you know, not messaging you 100 times a day saying, I can't log in, or I didn't do my work because I can't find it. So like I said, these communication pieces and just teaching them how to navigate these programs. How do I get to my calendar for my course? How do I get to my assignments? How do I get to messages? All of these pieces, we need to show them how to do it. And we also need to remember that even if you're teaching an upper grade level student that you're assuming should know this by now, whether they should know it and do know it are very different things. And we've been out of school for 5.5 months. So they might have known it, but whether they know it now is another question. So definitely take some time and push through all of those communication pieces, how to get to them, why they're there, and why they're helpful is going to be really great for your students. So another piece to this is expectations. We want to be just like you are in your classroom. You're always very clear and consistent about what kind of expectations you have for them. So, you know, that means assignment due dates, that means test due dates, that means behavior in the classroom. Is it okay to yell out? Do I have to raise my hand? Okay, a lot of these are very intuitive in a face-to-face situation and familiar to you to go through these every year, but we need to teach them how to behave online too, and how to have and set those expectations up front. So, you know, how do we turn in assignments online? Because that might be different if we were in the classroom. You might have collected a piece of paper if we were in the classroom, and online, they're going to need to snap a picture of their work and submit it to you through an assignment, whether in Classroom or Schoology or whatever it is that you're using. Okay, so this is a skill set that these kids may not have. And although it would be really easy to just say, we're face-to-face, just give it to me in paper, it's fine. If we don't teach them how to do these pieces now, they're not going to know how to do it when they have to do it because they're not face-to-face with you. Again, even if we are face-to-face, they might be in a blended environment. They might be learning from home. So teach them how to do these things now. And I will say for Schoology at least, and I know Sarah's a great resource for Classroom, I've created some tutorial videos that will share out. They're actually in the Wakelets and the resources attached for this session that you can put right in your Schoology course. So these kids can click on the video and it shows them how to take a picture with their Chromebook and submit it to Schoology, how to take a picture with their phone and submit it to Schoology. So we've got these tutorials all set up and going. But again, if you can walk them through it face-to-face, you're going to be much better off than them having to figure that out on their own when you're not in person with them. Okay, expectations on communication. So this is a big one too. So with Schoology, we do have the message feature. Okay, with Google Classroom, we have other ways that parents and students can connect with teachers. But whatever platform you're using, what are those expectations? You do not have to be available 24/7. So you can set those expectations up with your students and say, hey, if you message me after the school day, I will get back to you. But, you know, after 8 o'clock, it's not coming until the next day. Or give me 24 hours to get back to you on any message. Okay, whatever those expectations you have for yourself, make sure you communicate those to your students because they're used to text messaging their friends and getting a response back in 5 minutes or maybe 5 seconds, depending on the friend. We don't have to have those same standards, okay? But their expectations of what consistent communication means and your expectations might not match. So if you just put that out in front right away in the classroom, you know, this is when I'm going to be available for communication. This is how long I'm going to need to respond to messages. This is where you go for announcements, whether that's the student hub, whether that's your, you know, your announcements page through Schoology or Google Classroom or whatever it is that you're using. Where do kids and families go for that current information. Okay, is that your calendar? Is that your page on your Schoology? You know, your announcements page? The teachers kind of have different ways of communicating, and that's fine as long as we're being consistent and still using those calendar pieces. You might have some other ways, and that's okay, but what are they? And make sure your students know what those are as well. Participation is a big one. In the classroom, we have set expectations of what participation means. Does that mean you raise your hand and try to answer questions? Does that mean you sit attentively and aren't, you know, coloring a picture while I'm trying to teach you your lesson today? You know, what does that mean for you in your classroom? You go through that all the time. What does that mean online? If you're having an online discussion and you decide to, you know, use the discussion tool, for example, this year, and you want kids to participate, you need to set very clear expectations for them. I expect you to post your initial response and respond to at least 3 classmates, okay? And then also respond to questions that are asked of you. If you just say, here's the discussion question, but you don't give them any parameters, they might post one time and think, that's it, I'm done, I'm good to go. Where you're expecting, no, this was supposed to be an ongoing conversation. But again, if we don't set those expectations, kids don't just automatically know how to participate in a discussion online or how to communicate with their peers online or with you online. So these are definitely things that we want to set clearly up front so we can transition easily between face-to-face and online. And again, you know, if you're thinking about using some of these tools, some of the online discussion pieces, or, you know, having students submit work with a picture, definitely start them up front. Don't wait until they're not face-to-face with you anymore. And walk them through now, which is going to, like I said, it's really going to help you out later. Another piece to this is behavior. So again, in that classroom, you know, are they allowed to just get up and walk away? Are they expected to get their materials out? Are they expected to come to class ready to go with pencils and books and Chromebooks and whatever it is that they need for the supplies for the day? Okay. We can talk to them about when we're online, when we are messaging with each other, or we are reading announcements, or we are responding to things, or we are participating in a Zoom conference. What are those behavior expectations there? Because they don't always transfer that just because I have to do this in the classroom means that I have to do it in a Zoom session too, or that I have to do this way online too. Sorry, my message apps keep popping up here. So definitely talk about that mutual respect, about kindness, about being open-minded. Okay. Language is a big one, especially talking online. And I think all of us have seen this. You know, we are in a school setting, we are not texting with friends. So as students go through and they respond to a post online, you know, they need to use appropriate grammar. They need to use punctuation. They need to use real words and not slang. Okay, emojis are something you may want to address. Is that appropriate for your classroom discussions or not? All right, and of course, kindness and that respect piece. All right, especially if we start, you know, snapping pictures or doing Zoom conferences with people at home, everybody's environment is different. Okay, so none of our houses look the same. None of our siblings are the same. You know, and what does that look like for each person? What does our background look like? It's okay for students to have a virtual background if they don't want to have everyone seeing their house behind them. If students don't want to have their camera on, I know it's much better to present and teach to live faces and not black screens with names on them. I get that. But we also need to be mindful that you know what, maybe their house is not what they want their friends seeing, or maybe, like I said, something's happening in the background that they're just not comfortable with everyone else hearing, or it's not a quiet environment and they need to mute themselves the whole time because they have somebody screaming. I mean, in my house, it would be my daughter who was screaming and my son who's trying to participate in his Zoom conference. So every situation is going to be different. So we can highly encourage that kids turn on their cameras, and in a very positive way. I love to see your face. I want to teach to you. You know, we want to see each other. Everybody is interested in seeing you and hearing you. But you know what? If you're really not comfortable with that, you don't have to do that. You don't have to turn it on. That is an option for you. We want to also, we can talk about some do's and don'ts with your students. And so we actually have a wakelet that we put together with some great, Sarah put it together. Yeah.
There was a good question. I just want to make sure that everyone, the videos that you were referring to, like the how to log in, how to submit a picture how to do this, and you have them housed in that Welcome to RMS course?
Not yet. I will add them. I just made them like this week. So some of them. So right now they're all in Wakelets, and those are going to be housed in the 512 pathway for Schoology, the Learn course that's going to have the how to collect work in Schoology and how to use Schoology gradebook. Okay, so those Learn courses will be available once we do those sessions, and then those Wakelets are housed in there. They're also housed, I posted this last year for the kids, for the middle school. I'll repost it in the Student Hub this year too. But I put together a Wakelet for them that has all kinds of links to resources about how to use a lot of the programs that we use, like the extras like Flipgrid and Screencastify and some of those creation tools. But that Wakelet is also embedded in there too. And it's a whole Schoology, how to submit work in Schoology too, where there's videos are. So I will make sure that I push that out on the Student Hub this year for the middle school. I can have Robin do it for the high school if the high school teachers are interested. And again, it is linked in the Learn course for how to turn in your work on Schoology.
Okay. And then there was a good question. Some teachers have put the Schoology app on their phones or a mobile device, a tablet of some sort.
Sure.
The kids can also do that, correct? For
Absolutely.
512?
Yeah, there's directions in the Wakelet for that too, in the Schoology, how to turn in your work. Yep.
But the kids can access course content, the calendars, messaging teachers, all through that app as well.
Absolutely. And that's a great place too, if your kids are going to be taking pictures of their work and submitting it, whether that's math, art, whatever subject it is, it's really easy to do from your phone. I mean, you can hold a document up in front of the webcam on your Chromebook and take a picture, but the phone works really well. And if they have a phone already, they can put that app on there. And like I said, there's directions in there too for that. And then just take the picture and then upload that right from their phone to Schoology. I do have a video for that, but I wouldn't record my voice. And when I recorded it, I didn't have access to our WeVideo account yet. So I need to go run back through. It's posted, but there's no sound. So I need to run back through and add some sound to it. So I'll update that video as well. But there's a tutorial, and now it's from an iPhone. I don't have an Android, but I think it's probably pretty similar on a different platform.
And then for my elementary people that use Google Classroom, there is a Google Classroom app that teachers, you can put on your phones if you would like. I don't know that too many of our students will have access to a phone, but possibly a tablet. Keep in mind that the Classroom app works slightly differently on a mobile or a tablet or a phone or something. It works slightly differently than it does on the web-based, on a Chromebook, on a computer. Keep that in mind. I would encourage the kids to be working far more from a computer, but it is truly possible. So keep that in mind as well. Absolutely. These are great questions and great information. Another way that you can kind of create this online community right up front is to do some icebreaker activities with your kiddos online, but in person. So you can run them through doing this just like we do with any of our other assignments that are digital. We can do some of these icebreaker activities up front, and especially with these students coming back after who knows what kind of scenarios they've had for the last several months. We're going to want to talk about some social emotional needs with these kiddos and some lessons with these kiddos. And these icebreaker activities are a great way to address some of the social emotional pieces, ease the kids back into the school environment, and also introduce these online tools that we're going to want them to use with heavier content down the road. But it's a good way to introduce it up front, since we're not in the middle of a unit just yet where we need to have them submit a big project or assignment. And so that I'm going to pull out of this poster here and pull up the Wakelet that we've created, or mostly Sarah for that matter. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to reshare my other screen here. And while I pull that up, if you guys have any questions, please shout them out or put them in the text and we can address those as well. All right. Can we see the building an online community? Great. Okay, so this is a Wakelet that Sarah put together, and it's great. She's organized it for do's and don'ts of online communication. There are some great resources right up top here, and I'm going to go ahead and pull them up
I already have them open. So this one is for upper level grades. So it's like I said, great tips for sharing with your students. You can use this doc, you can copy and paste, make a copy of your own and edit it to share with your students, kind of whatever works for you. But they hit on the big pieces. It's Catlin Tucker. If you did her course earlier, she's got some great resources, using each other's names, complimenting your peers, asking questions, being considerate, staying open-minded. Okay, these are all great pieces of advice to give to your students when they're communicating online. And again, a lot of these we do face-to-face. They just don't always carry over with the students' experiences with how they communicate with each other online. And we can even talk about, you may communicate in a different way when you are not in school and with your peers, and that's up to you. But when you're in an educational setting, when you're in a professional setting, these are the rules we go by, right? You can recognize that they're coming from two different scenarios, but that this is educational and professional, and this is the way we're going to behave. Okay, she has there's another great one for elementary. Zoom tools are getting in the way here. It's, a little bit, the wording is a little bit better. It's a little bit more clear to read. And, so grab these resources, make them your own, customize them, share them with your kiddos, post them in your learning management system, whatever ways that you want to show them, but start up front. Okay, we're building those pieces. And just when you talk about your in-person classroom expectations, you can fold in these online classroom expectations too, because it's all kind of going to be one back and forth, all the same situation this year. So, and these are all linked in the Wakelet, which is linked from the Learn course that you guys all have access to. Okay, so you can pull these up, and like I said, they're Google Docs. You can make copies, but the Wakelet has a lot of great resources on the do's and don'ts of communication. And then there's a lot of icebreaker activities, articles on just, what it means to have a strong online community. So definitely take a look at some of these and kind of see what works for you, and dive into these resources, because they're great articles. And then these activities you can do to build your online community right up front with your kiddos. And I'm going to turn it over to Sarah, because we've got one that we're going to do with you guys to kind of model what that might look like.
And I don't have a poll this time, but I have a Mentimeter. If you're not familiar with Mentimeter, it's a very cool, easy way to gather information back from your students. And I would like to gather a little bit of information from you guys. So I've posted the link in the chat. So please feel free to go into the chat and click on the link. And then I am going to, I want to share it. And then we can see what everybody is. So I'm going to share my screen. And you can see, this is just one example of a possibility that you can do with Mentimeter.
And these are great tools to use. Like I said, you can use them in the classroom and put this on your projector and show it. You can use them in a blended or a fully online scenario and let the kids kind of interact with you and vote. So we're not just talking at them all day. Like I'm not just talking at you all morning, we're having you guys interact with us as well.
And you can see as they pop in.
How are you getting, I don't understand how it's working. What am I supposed to do to vote?
Go to the chat, and there's a link in the chat.
Well, the little hand's not coming up to get me there.
Try clicking on it anyway.
I am, and that's why I'm like, nothing's happening.
Okay, so
I had
Brenda,
to copy and paste it.
yeah, if
See,
you
I
select
don't know how to copy and paste it when I'm on here. How do I get to a different screen?
Take your cursor and copy, like select over it.
Okay, but there's two different ones. One's WKE and the other one's MENTI.
Right, the WKE is the Wakelet that Trish was just sharing. The MENTI is the Mentimeter. The other option, if you look at your screen, and this is it automatically happens with Mentimeter, it gives you this website up here. www.menti.com. And then here's the code for this particular question.
But how do I get there if I am on a Zoom meeting?
You can escape out of your full screen mode.
The
Or-
ESC button in the top left corner.
Of your keyboard.
Okay.
Or
I
you
press-
can go on your phone, Brenda. If you have your phone sitting next to you, you can just go to menti.com on your phone. But and I can work with you later on Menti. It's a pretty cool tool. It's really easy to use. And again, this is something that you can show the kids in person first if you want. So everybody's kind of on the same page on how to get there.
And it's an option, right?
Right.
We're presenting this as an option. You absolutely do not have to use this. But I also like that this can be anonymous. And then when we talk about those SEL pieces, who's feeling good about online learning or who's feeling good about being face-to-face? The kids can rest in that idea that they don't have to have their name attached to it and talk to them. There is a time where it's appropriate to know who is doing what answers, but then there's also a time just, for this, like for the ice cream one that we did in the first one. Who cares who's putting in which ice cream flavor? It's one of those little icebreakers that when we do them in person, we don't have to think about that kind of thing. But when we do it digitally, putting in the option or the ability to go one way or the other is pretty cool. So you can see we're kind of split. And this is where you can then, when you have this up, you can have that discussion as a class. Okay, guys, let's analyze this data. What do you notice? It appears Canva is not a strong contender, but we're pretty well split with WeVideo, Mentimeter, and Edpuzzle. And if you don't know, WeVideo is available again, people. Thank you, Becky.
Yep.
So that gives us a little bit of guidance as well. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. As Trish said, we're going to do a bigger icebreaker, and we're going to model this after if we were all remote, because none of us are together face-to-face right now, right? So I have a slide deck, and it's a Freyer model. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know the technical thinking behind a Freyer model, other than it's broken up into chunks. And you'll see when you get into it, I promise you, you'll be like, who cares what a Freyer is? I'm assuming it's the guy that invented it. That's all my only assumption. So I'm going to put the link in the chat. If you can't get to it, no pressure, or you're choosing not to participate, setting that clear expectation. I would love it if everyone participates. However, I understand sometimes if you're on your phone, you're not going to be able to get to it, or if you can't copy and paste the link, it's fine. We're not going to grade anyone on this particular one. Or will we? I'm just kidding. No, we're not. So what I want you to do is in a classroom, you might have your students organized alphabetically. Everybody has a number, maybe not. So in this case, we don't have numbers. Like I'm not going to say Sarah's number 1, Trish's number 2, Brenda's 3, so on and so forth, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to be aware of when you go in. I believe there are 40 slides. Pick a slide. And when you look at that slide, you'll see like a little bubble in the bottom left-hand corner. If somebody else is already on it, just move to another one. They're all identical. And I want you to complete the activity. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to complete this activity. It's a low pressure. I'm not taking this for a grade. I understand this is the first time that we're doing this as a group. So I'm going to go ahead and paste the link. It is available to anyone with the link, has the ability to edit.
So remember, we're going to present this to the students with our expectations of we expect you to use punctuation and capital letters and correct grammar, no slang,
Appropriate.
Yeah. We can comment on each other's slides, but we are focusing on the person or focusing on the content. We are being kind and respectful, and we're going to be positive. We're not critiquing these slides at all, so we can just add some positive, fun comments while still being appropriate.
And quite honestly, for these 5 minutes, I want you to, I'm setting my timer. so that time doesn't run away from me. I want you to focus on your slide. I'll give you a few minutes at the end to go through and look at other people's slides. And Robin and Trish, I am going to go ahead and do one as well.
Great. Why don't you share your screen while you do one?
Well, that's a little pressure.
I know, right? You can handle it though. You're all right.
And if anyone needs help in understanding how to do something, please shout it out or put it in the chat. And then I can use my screen as a means to be the example. So I'm looking over here. I see it doesn't look like anybody's on slide 37. Because I can see these little faces, well, your profile, whatever your profile is. So I can scroll through. If I'm a student, I can see 2 people are on this one.
And like Sarah mentioned, you know, if you're doing this in the classroom, you know who's coming in, you know who your kids are. You can assign them slide numbers if you want to make this a little bit quicker. Or you can do it on the fly, just like we're doing here.
And the cool part about this, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Okay, I was on it until Sarah, you shared your screen with us, and then my screen went away. So how do I go back?
Tap your escape key, your ESC, in the top left corner.
Yeah, because last time you did that screen too, like the Zoom, all your faces went by, and I was on the Wakelet on that, and I was like, how do I get back?
Okay, so I got it now. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's a really good thing if you're not aware of. If somebody goes into screen sharing and they take over your full screen, and then you're like, what? Just tap your ESC key, your escape, and it'll make it small enough that you can see the other windows. You might have to do a little bit of shifting around.
I have the HTTPS thing highlighted in blue. Now, what do I do to get there?
Are you using your trackpad or are you using a mouse?
Trackpad.
Do a 2-finger tap on top of that blue highlight.
It says copy or control C.
Do copy. And then go to a new tab up here, like click a new tab open.
A new
And then
tab up where?
You see on my screen, do you see up at the very, very top? Like you can click this.
Yeah,
plus
but I don't have that on mine.
Are you working on your Chromebook, Brenda, or on a different device?
Yes. And I have a sty in my eye, so I don't have my contacts on, so I have to kind of go back and forth. But it says you are viewing Sierra Key for screen. I don't have what you have on the top there. And I pressed escape. Now it says, do you want to leave the meeting, which I don't want to do.
No. Did you happen to have any other options, Brenda, other than copy? Did you happen to have one that said open in a new tab by perhaps?
Oh, shoot. Now okay. It's blue. Well, it was blue. Okay.
You might have to re-highlight it.
I did, and then press it twice. No, it's just copy or control plus C.
And you clicked copy, correct?
Correct.
Do you have Chrome open?
I have no idea.
Like, how did you get to our meeting?
I went through the page on the agenda.
So you have this open somewhere?
Yes, and then I went to join us here.
Join us here. Okay,
Yeah.
so up, do you see this piece up here? The title with the green, like where my
Nope,
cursor
it
is.
just says, it just says Zoom up there with a video.
What if
Oh,
you go up a little bit higher? Does anything kind of drop down?
No, there's a thing that says options though. Let me see what that says. Original size or enter full screen. Maybe if I put original size.
Try
You
that.
might just need to drag your Zoom meeting screen down a little bit. It's probably covering up Chrome.
Oh, okay. Now I see that stuff up there. Do I go to plus?
Click the plus sign,
Yes.
and then you see your cursor flashing up here.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Do a control V as in victory.
Control V. Yep. And then enter.
Yep.
Oh, I found it.
Good job.
Zombie
Thank
apocalypse time, people. And by the way, those of you that did you hear that?
Well, it's all right. I was glad to have found it. Let me go back. If I X out of there, I should be back with you guys, right?
Or you
Nope.
can just leave it open, Brenda, if you
Well,
want.
now it says your meeting should be open in a few seconds. Let me.
Well, you're here. You're good with.
Yeah,
Oh.
you're good. But
No,
this
I'm
is a
not.
great example of why we do this in a low stakes environment first, where we're not taking a grade. It's not a test. Okay. It's just kind of for something fun to get everybody familiar with the tools, right? So if we got there, awesome. If it didn't work out, we need to work with some students later one-on-one. We've got that option, because this is the low stakes time when we're just introducing the tools and we can kind of get everybody familiar with them. So later on, when we hit it harder with the actual content, they'll be more familiar with how to navigate.
Oh, geez.
I can't find you.
We're here, Brenda. You can
I
hear
know,
us.
but I don't know how to get back to you.
So if you have the Zoom
I got
icon
it.
somewhere, okay, you got it.
Yes. Oh. Now it says your meeting should start in a few seconds. I don't understand.
I know you've started a second Zoom meeting.
I know. I don't know how to get back there.
We can see you.
You can?
Yeah, if you just want to listen for a little bit, I think we're just going to talk through these slides here for the last few minutes.
Okay. Wait. Oh, no. Oh, there you are. Wait, now how do I get that bigger?
Okay. So here's another, if you're not familiar with slides, here's an option that you can always do too. Like my timer went off, 5 minutes is up. Okay, class, I am going to actually take away the ability for you to edit, because I want everybody to stop doing what they're doing. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to go to the share as it loads. And I'm going to change this link, and I'm going to change it to the ability to comment. Now, if you would please just do me a quick favor and click your refresh button. On a Chromebook, you have a refresh button. It's a circle that's not quite complete. If you would just tap that to refresh this. Now, what I want you to do, and this is part of like giving those clear expectations to your students, I want you to go and I want you to comment on 2 other people's slides. It doesn't matter which slides. You cannot put both comments on the same slide. Please pick 2 different ones.
Oh, no.
And in order to do that, you go to someone's slide, like I'm going to go to this person's slide, and I see their emoji right here. So I'm going to click on that emoji, and then you have a commenting feature right here. And then you're going to have that little comment feature open to the side. Type your comment in here. Keep in mind, we're at school. We are using school accounts. We want to make sure that these are appropriate for school use. And by the way, teachers, their names show up. None of this is anonymous, right? So you know who's commenting what. If I could get my exclamation point to work. And then keep in mind, I had asked that you comment on 2 different slides. So make sure you pick and you go to another slide, and you can even see over here on the left that there are 3 comments on that slide. I don't see one on slide 20. So maybe I want to come here, and maybe I want to comment on this person's slide. It's the same thing. Click on something that you would like to refer to, click on your commenting feature, type it in. See, I can see a comments happen down here. You even kind of can see a little bit of a preview of it. And as Trish said, this is a low pressure, trying to do a little bit of get to know you. It's kind of a fun topic. This is ready to go. This is one of Catlin Tucker's that she shared out. In the Wakelet, I shared several activities. Edu Protocols is a fantastic website. They share out a bunch of these. I have the book if you're interested. They actually have 2 books now. I believe they're coming out with one specifically for math classes. But think about this particular activity. You have it set up once. go in and edit and change out the zombie apocalypse idea. Maybe it's about the American Revolution. Maybe you're not asking emojis. Maybe you're asking who's your favorite person, explain why, or what's an event, and focus in. You can really change these up to work with any kind of content that you would like. And like I said, Mr. Frayer, Mrs. Frayer, whomever you might be, to me, it just appears that it's 5 different areas. Look at all these comments coming in. And feel free, once you've made your 2 comments, if you would like to make more, you're more than welcome to. But you can come in and you can see who's commenting. That one also has 4.
Sarah, I'm still not seeing how to comment. If I click on that comment only, I have to request access.
Click on something, like I'm on this slide right here. Click on like the text box here and use the little, looks like a little speech bubble with a plus sign on it.
Yeah.
Sarah, I'm going to interrupt a little bit. We, as an editor, you can click on the specific pieces of that slide. As viewers, we can't. So really, next to the yellow comment only, there's an actual comment icon, and it's a little gray box with a plus sign. That's what you need to click on up at the menu bar, and then it'll pop up a little comment box to the side, and you can type your comment in. So
got it. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Oh, 32, you even changed your background color.
Nice.
Go. Extra points.
You said it wasn't being graded.
And Brenda, I'm not giving anybody points, so gold star, extra
Like
points.
I didn't mean for, I got to mute myself. Here we go.
I promise you, I'm not grading any of these. Oh, poop emoji. You know you'll get one of those.
Nice. Got a lot of unicorns. Unicorns are pretty awesome.
I won't survive. Take me right away. I kind of feel like I'd be in that boat too. I would.
So you guys kind of getting the hang of, some things ideas you can do with your kiddos, just to get them started with these tools, even if you're not ready to jump into your content just yet. But, we can even see for the example today, doing this face-to-face would have probably been a little bit easier for the first time if we had that option versus trying to get everybody to navigate between a Zoom meeting and other tabs and Chrome. It's possible, right? We did it. We made it work. But, if you can introduce this to your kiddos in the classroom, it would probably be very beneficial to you if you have to do this online later when they've seen it before and they're familiar with these tools and they use them every day in class with you rather than always doing face-to-face things in classes and then saving all of the online things until we have to do it later, right? If we incorporate all of this from day one, just like you incorporate in-person expectations, behaviors, classroom protocols, you do that awesome. You do an awesome job with that every year in face-to-face. We just need to incorporate those online pieces this year too, from day one.
And another thing to keep in mind is in this scenario, we were the teachers and you were the students. So you saw some of the pieces like from what your students are going to probably ask. And then, so you understand like from the student side, well, the whole commenting thing that Sarah was talking about, it's not working for me. So I see at least one person, probably more, probably put that in the chat. I think Kristen, I think you were the one that piped in. Like set those expectations, guys. Like if you're not seeing this, like let me know, because again, we're not right here behind you if we're in those remote settings or they're completing this work. And that's where you're building that online community, allowing your students to have that comfort of piping in and not going like, oh, my teacher's gonna think I'm dumb. Like it's that mindset of we're all learning here and we're all doing this together. And they know like this is new-ish to us. We had that go around in the spring. We're still learning. We're still making this better.
Yep. And those comment features are great too. I mean, the kids can do the same thing that we are. You guys are putting in comments when Sarah and Robin and I don't get to them right away. We've had a lot of teachers jump in and give answers, which is great. And your students do that too. I've seen them do it at all the ages. They love to help each other out, and it takes the pressure off you too if you can't get to the answer right away. And your name is right on all of those comments. So if somebody's commenting with something that they shouldn't be, their name's plastered all over it. So you can address that as well. And the more you build these online communities, the more they become familiar with how to speak online, how to treat each other online, the easier it is to open up the comment features and open up, those communication tools and let them help each other, because they know they need to respect each other online just like they do in the classroom.
And with that, we have like 5 minutes left. Anyone have questions, comments, thoughts, anything that they'd like to share?
You guys are quiet today.
So I guess at this point, we could put in a plug then for our noon sessions. Keep in mind, this is not going to be a K12, everyone in together. Middle school and high school teachers, because you're using Schoology as your LMS, your learning management system, you have your own Zoom that you're going to go to. And then elementary teachers, you will join me in our Google Classroom calendar, because while they're both calendars, they are two different systems, and we want to make sure that you guys are comfortable using the one that you are going to be using during the school year too. And there are some differences to them as well. So at noon, right? Noon is the next.
Yep, 12 to 12:30. That's a short one. Calendars are pretty simple. There's not a whole lot to them, but we want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And we've had these learning management systems in place for several years, but we were talking about it and we haven't really done a lot of targeted training on them in a while because we did it up front and everybody's kind of been using them. And since these are all required elements this year, we just want to make sure that everybody is aware of all the features. I can't count the number of times that, people have been using a tool for years and all of a sudden they learn something new and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know it did that. I wish I would have known that, however long ago. That would have made things easier. So we don't want anybody to be in that scenario this year, especially when, we're saying that we all kind of need to be on the same page with this. So we just want to make sure everybody sees everything there is to learn, and they have references to go back and watch the videos. But yeah, the calendar one, I think is going to be a pretty short, easy one. But you might learn something new, and if not, you'll have that affirmation that Becky was talking about in our first session that you know what you're doing. So.
And be sure to check the agenda for the links, for the times, the dates, everything that you need will be in there. The Zoom join links will turn into TLH links so that if you're not able to join a particular session, you'll know right where to go in order to get to be able to rewatch them and get all the resources.
Yep, absolutely.
So with that, I'm going